Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome back to Breaking Point. Today we are breaking down my second start of the year against Detroit. Complete game shutout, although it was only 7 innings, so does it really count? I don't know. Complete with the McGregor strut and stuff like that. So let's dive right in. I call this crisscrossing the corner. You know, tunneling is a crazy concept. There's no way a big leaguer swings at that. If this ball's 1-7, he absolutely crushes it. Boom, that's the breaking point. Okay, we're gonna do it a little bit differently today. I'm gonna watch the whole game, and I'm not gonna break down specific things like every single at bat, but I'm gonna give you my thoughts, what was going through my head, what I was thinking, and there's some key areas on sequences I really executed well, some things that I didn't execute well and how it costs me, stuff like that. So we're gonna do that, but first, what we have here is some post-game reporting. And so this is my pitch type report and my execution and stuff like that. So we are looking here at this start. Oh, that's not gonna show up too well. Let's change that. We're looking at this start here. As we can see here, plate discipline is an interesting stat that my guys over at 4app have developed. This is all from 4app. This is the post-game report that I get. This is one of the dashboards. There's a lot of different ones, but plate discipline is an interesting number. The lower is better. This is measuring a combination of like takes and swings in different locations and stuff like that. So plate discipline, the lower, the better. And we can see by pitch type here, my slider was the easiest to take when it was a ball and to swing at when it was a strike, which is unusual for me. But there's a couple reasons for that. We can see here that my sinker and my fastball were my two best pitches. So basically my fastballs were my best pitches here, at least in generating swings on balls out of the zone and takes on balls in the zone. This thing down here on the bottom, average execution score, the lower is better. So this is basically per pitch, how many runs are you saving on an individual pitch? So if I throw a pitch and I save 0.05 runs, that means for every 20 of those pitches I throw, I'm saving myself a run over the course of the game. So if we look, we have deep plus REM sleep. So I'm in this dashboard, I'm tracking my sleep quality the night before a start versus how I actually executed in the game. And we can see here that we have my first start, I executed extremely well. Every pitch that I threw was on average worth, basically for every 20 pitches I threw that game, and I threw about 100, it was worth -1 run. So I saved myself about 5 runs. That's what the metrics here are kind of saying. In this middle start, the second start against Detroit, we're down in the 0.3 range, 0.03 range, I should say. So that's for every 33 pitches that I threw, I saved myself a run, which means the quality of my pitches weren't nearly as good in my second start. So that's this dashboard. If we go ahead to, let's see, this one here, we can see so these command dashboard, this is the command dashboard, and for every one of these maps, my intended location is at the intersection of the two axes here, okay? So this is my intended location. On each of the graphs, it's at 0, 0. All right, so we can see my fastball. We got fastball over here, four-seam fastball. This is cutter, this is curveball, and this is slider. So we can see we got command scores down here. The sleep score is consistent because that's what I slept like. Deep plus REM is consistent because that's the same thing. But what we have different here is the average miss, right here, season average miss, and the command score for these different ones, and they're going to change. So for my fastball, my average miss is 1.17 feet, so that's 12 and let's say 14 inches, something like that. And we can see the direction that I'm missing. So I'm pulling some, the plot kind of looks like this. So I'm pulling some to the glove side. This is glove side over here. This is arm side over there. But command score of this pitch was 71, which is pretty good. That's basically a measure of like how many pitches I threw inside my season average miss. But if you look at the curveball, command score 30, cutter, command score 31, slider, command score 8. So bad day for off-speed command here, and not the best day for command in general. We can see a lot of different misses. Very few cutters actually hit their intended location, with a lot of them missing by, I mean, this is 1.5 feet, so that's 18 inches miss, plus like 2 feet down miss. So this is a really bad one. But these are some of the dashboards that I get after a game, and how we can go about breaking down like what actually happened. You know, was it my command that let me down? Was it the quality of the pitch that let me down? Was it whatever happened? So, all right, moving on forward, I'm going to play this through and just kind of talk over it, and I'll stop it at different points. But trying to go up and away, we miss, and then we get one in the zone. Right away, though, we can see 92 is not usually where I'm at, so I already knew that I was going to be a little bit down in this game because I warmed up fully the day before and then came back and pitched the very next day. So like my body just was not prepared. I was exhausted the entire game, but we needed to go out there. We needed to get a win. So this is what we are dealing with. Now, sometimes I'll start off at 92 and I know that I can build up throughout the game. I didn't have a sense that I was going to be able to build up throughout the game. I felt really sluggish and really kind of dead starting off. So we get this pitch in the location that I'm trying to go, and we generate a fly ball out here to left field for out number 1. Miss my spot there a little bit. Miss my spot there. Trying to go down and away, get one. Although I pulled it, so this pitch here, generally speaking, in a 2-0 count, is dangerous. Now, he's clearly just auto-taking here. He's shutting it down. But this pitch missed by a good, I was trying to go like out over here. This pitch missed by probably, 8 inches or so, and it's right down middle where lefties tend to do quite a bit of damage. So probably got away with one here as far as like him not swinging. Kurt does a good job of catching that one. Okay, here we go. Here's the cutter, and we can see this. This is one of the cutters that I missed. My intended location, if you look over here, is like I'm trying to go backdoor cutter, and we end up with this ball down in over here. So a pretty decent miss, and again in that down and in area that generally isn't too productive against lefties. Speaking with cutters, if you're going to go down and in, they need to be kind of in this zone here where they're off the plate, kind of that dead zone back foot area. But generally speaking, this area here is really good for lefties on cutters. It allows them, if they recognize fastball middle of the zone and the cutter kind of drops down in here, they're a little bit out in front of it, and it allows them to get their barrel to it, and generally creates some power on those pitches. So not locating super well to start this game, but not in a bad position. Here we go with trying to throw a curveball, and we can see, my curveball, why my curveball command score was so bad. Here we're trying to go like in this area that's below the zone area to try to get a swing. The cutter that was just here started about at this level. So I'm trying to start a curveball somewhere about that same level and break it down for a swing and miss, but make it close enough to the zone that there gets buy-in, because it's a 2-2 count, and I don't want to end up in a 3-2 count and walk in. But of course, that's where we end up. And we come back and execute a perfect pitch there up and in, and then miss with a fastball. Sorry, perfect pitch up and away, and then miss with a fastball in, so we end up with a walk. And now we got Senor Cabrera at the plate, and these at-bats are always fun. So perfect pitch up and away. I'm trying to attack with the fastball in this at-bat here on this outer portion. Because in the first game that I faced him, I had some success out there. So until he forces me to change, that's kind of what I'm thinking about doing. This curveball, actually, pretty good curveball. I'm not super upset with where that one ended up. It kind of shares that fastball up and away look, and then ends up down. But we get a little buy-in on him, but he's not looking to hit that pitch anyway. He's hunting those kind of middle speed, the cutter, the changeup, hard sliders, stuff like that in the zone. So he's able to take this one. All right, so this one, again, I'm trying to go curveball over here like I was on the 0-1 pitch, and I miss with this pitch pretty bad. But this pitch has to start off like it's coming up like a fastball up here. And Miggy and I have a history of where I throw him a lot of fastballs like up in this area, and he doesn't like it too much. So he had he had to recognize this one as kind of like that, and it drops in, and you can see his body language is like, oof. Look at his face. He's got this little smirk. So I'm not sure if he recognized that pitch and just acted like he didn't to try to get me to throw it again or what, but Miggy's facial expressions are always fun to try to read. Okay, so now we're 1-2, and I just lose this pitch. I'm trying to go up here, like right on the corner. I'm fine missing in this area a little bit, but I didn't want to miss where I missed. So then come back, miss again. I think after that sequence, if I get one of those two pitches in this zone, it's an out. And I'm not commanding the ball super well at this point. I really didn't command it super well overall. And so I just waste two pitches here and end up in a 3-2 count. Execute a good pitch. Now facial expressions. Oh man, he's like, wow. And then he gives me a little nod right here, little head tilt, like, yep, I see you. You challenged me, respect for that. But I threw him the exact same pitch here, and we get an out. So I won that at bat with Miggy. Wasn't my best at bat execution-wise, but we get what we want. And then we end up here with Mr. Scope. Really bad cutter, and then we get one that we're preying off his aggressiveness here. This cutter looks like it's a fastball, kind of up, out, over that he can get to. He triggers on that, and then it runs away, and you can see this last little, like, reach for it, and his face is like, ah! Got it. So really bad start to this sequence, but ended up making a pitch. He probably would have been better off swinging and missing at that pitch, honestly, and get to the next one, because I was not executing super well at this point of the game. Wasn't feeling too good either. So here we come out. This is a really interesting swing. This is right. I mean, it looks like he's right on it there, but this is 91. And I sat 95 against these guys the first game, and he hits this off the cap of the bat. So he's way out in front of a fastball in, and he caps it. So judging speed-wise, where he's at, what he's looking for, I decided to come back with a couple change-ups, and I just miss really poorly on both of them. Usually if I miss on a changeup, I'm good on the second one, on the back-to-back changeup on executing it. Not so in that case, and so now I have to throw a strike, and we actually come up here, and we get the ball up to his hands. Now, this pitch in here, he hits pretty well. If you can get it up here, it's kind of a dead zone for him, and you can see why. He has to pull the hands in. He gets the barrel to it, but he's kind of slicing across this ball. He doesn't get full extension on it, and so we beat him with that pitch there. Try to go to the curveball, and I like how I execute this curveball, because coming off of this fastball right here that kind of swept this line, this curveball follows it pretty darn well. So I thought I might get a swing there, but really good take. Really didn't get a whole lot of buy-in on that pitch at all. Not a whole lot of trigger from him. So I read that, and I'm like, okay, I know what I'm going to do to him later. But now we come up into this. This is the best, like one of the best finishing zones for my fastball is this up and away to lefties. So execute this pitch just a little bit off. Probably not going to get that call, but we get the swing. So another 3-2 count. I had a lot of 3-2 counts, a lot of deep counts in this game. Fastball away, great starting point. Get away with a slider hanging there. Throw a really good slider there, and so I overlaid it because you can see there's a little bit of buy-in to this. Now, I am fine with this location. It might look like it's a waste and it's way off, but I'm fine with it because if you look at this overlay, this is the first fastball that I threw that's a strike, and the slider. Look how close those pitches are for a long time, and then the slider just disappears. So I actually get a lot of swing and miss on sliders that are over in this area after I've hit the outside corner with a fastball. It's one of my favorite sequences. And you'll see it happen later in the game where I actually do get a swing and miss on a slider that's way out of the zone over here. But this is why. It's because the fastball, the first pitch of the at-bat, establishes the fact that something's going to start kind of over here and come back to the corner and hard. So when something starts out over there, you have to trigger your swing, and then when it's slow and goes this way, you have no chance at hitting it. So I'm actually fine with this location for that reason. And then after getting the slider over here, take, I figured I'd start something outside of that and bring it back with the two-seam. But I get the movement that I want, I just start it way off. And you can see my body the entire time is like everything's arching off this way. Head pulls over there, I'm falling away from it, I'm spinning off, and I just miss. If I throw this two-seam anywhere on the outer half of the plate, he takes it, for sure. I just yanked it, because in my head, I was like, throw it hard and you got him, instead of just saying, okay, here's my target right there, just hit the glove. So I got a little bit out of whack mentally there, and then we come back on this pitch, and we end up with a laser to Gino that handcuffs him. He can't do anything with it. This ball was scorched. But I have these numbers up here, and this is another part of the post-game report that I get every time from the 4 app. Okay, so we're at a 2-2 count here, and we throw, this is a slider, and this run value here is saying that basically this pitch cost me, I gave up basically a quarter of a run on this pitch. It's 2-2, so I'm trying to throw this slider in this area. So this is part of the command tagging app, and so I have a slider that I'm trying to go here, but the slider ends up here. Green is where I was trying to go, red is where it actually ended up. And then you can see this area in here is bad. So this is one of the worst pitches I threw all game from execution standpoint. It cost me a quarter of a run. And you can see this thing just pops out, and it's right in there. He gets full extension, takes a good swing on it, and hits a missile. So I wanted to kind of show that. The hits that I gave up, both hits that I gave up this game were really poorly located and were reflected with that number, the run score, or the run value. All right, and this is where this inning gets this inning was probably my worst inning of the game. I missed with that pitch pretty bad. We come back, we have a good at bat here. So we got fastball up and away for a ball, but this combination, so you go fastball here, this is a strike. The first one, so we set the top of the zone and we get action. We know he's looking to swing, right? Then we come back and we set the outer part of the zone, and Kurt does a great job of catching this. If you can see how, like, when he catches this, the ball's tugging his glove back into the zone. It's not like a catch and then pull. It's like all in one, he just catches it and pulls it in. And so we get this pitch, it's a full ball width off the plate. I mean, this pitch is out here and the zone is here, obviously. So Kurt buys me this pitch, but now we've set up here, we know we got swing, and out here we got take for a strike. And so this whole area up here, this whole tunnel is now established. And so we can see with the 1-1 pitch, like this pitch looks like it's nowhere close. Like, what are you doing swinging at a cutter that's way off the plate over there and way down in a 1-1 count? But if you look at the overlay, the fastball that was a strike, the pitch before, and that cutter share the pretty similar tunnels, height-wise for sure. And so he has to be reading this as, this is going to be a fastball again in this location, I'm going to get to it, and then it's a cutter that disappears. So happy with that execution, and then we come back and we throw a slider, and this one is, the cutter is probably starting here and breaking just pretty much down. It doesn't have a whole lot of lateral movement. This slider probably started up here, so it looked like a fastball that was like the first fastball that I threw up here, and then it breaks way off the plate, and it's slower. So you can see this play out. He's swinging. One, it runs off the end of the bat. The end of the bat doesn't even get to it, and and the fact that it's slow is like, he can't get to it. So execute that at bat really well, and then come back with this one and don't execute this one very well at all. This one just gets smoked. I'm okay with this pitch, first pitch. Generally speaking, this pitch doesn't get hit, but I would have liked this to be a little bit more away. So this one gets smoked, and Gino actually makes a really nice play, handling a ball that was hit really hard. Fastball up, curveball down. I like that execution. Curveball, I thought that was a strike. I throw a lot of these top shelf curveballs. Judging by the strike zone here, it's probably a strike. Judging by his hitting stance, like, It's probably past the plate there. Kurt does a good job of catching that, but I'm happy with that execution. So I'm happy with the first 3 pitches here. I'm trying to throw that up top for a strike. And then we come back and just lose one really bad. And Kurt saves me. So another 3-2 count. Kurt's glove, you see this here? Kurt's glove is below the ball already. He beats this ball to the spot. And then when he's catching it, all in one motion, it's being pulled up. So like these couple frames here, below, moving the glove up, catch. So these couple frames in here are what buys the pitch. Now all this, pulling it up to the middle of the zone is not what's getting the pitch. It's the fact that he gets below it, and it's these couple frames right there. So shout out to Kurt on that one. He saved me. He had a really good game. He got me a lot of strikes this game because I wasn't very good, but my man Kurt was great, and that's why you need a good battery. So Lugo's not very happy. Makes sense. At this point in the game, I realize my velocity is way down, and I'm kind of depressed mood-wise. Not depressed in like a clinical, like I'm depressed sense, but like my whole energy level is kind of depressed. It's down. So I'm trying to get myself going. So I'm trying everything I can to like get my velocity up and like kind of just get my heart rate up and get going a little bit. But I was tired, so when I did that, I got tired really quickly when I tried to do that, which normally doesn't happen. So that's what I'm going through mentally at this point of the game, and it's a struggle so far. Executed a really good pitch there, missed with a curveball. It's just, you can see why my curveball score was so low. I was just missing with so many of them. They're uncompetitive. Great pitch here, that up and in cutter. It's probably the best cutter. There's a couple cutters that I executed well, like 3 or 4, but I'm trying to go up with this, and this is exactly what you get. It's like, oh, shoot. And you get this really, like, yeah, exactly. He said it best. Like didn't want to swing at it, but it's that kind of hands cutter that's really hard to lay off of and really hard to hit as well. So really good pitch there. Miss with a curveball again. So after this cutter, so the cutter starts here and it ends up kind of like there. After this, if I just get a curveball somewhere in this zone, it's an out. It's an out, out, out. He either grounds it or he swings and misses, but we miss with it way up. And you can see like the glove is down here is where I'm trying to go, and we just miss way up. So unfortunate on that, and we come back with a fastball trying to freeze over here and just miss. Like I was just all out of whack this inning. And then we come back middle down, which is not a good place to go. 3-2, I'm forcing him to hit it, especially nobody on with a 2-run lead. So if he hits that out, then we still have the lead and stuff. But here's an example of a happy mistake. I'm trying to go, you can see up here, I'm trying to go up and in to finish this with a fastball. And this ends up down. He takes a really bad swing at it. Now, generally speaking, down and in is not a good spot to go to a lefty. But you can see this swing is kind of awkward. And so I missed by a lot here. I missed by a lot. But the location it ended up in saved me about a quarter of a run. So this was probably the best possible location that I could have gone to against this guy in this count with this situation on the base paths and stuff. But not where I was trying to go. So this is a happy mistake. A lot of times you'll look and you say, oh, that was a really good pitch. Executed it well. Well, not really. I missed by probably 2 feet, 1.5 feet on that pitch, but ended up in a zone that was good for me and ended up with a positive result. Pop fly. Okay, good pitch here. Happy with that, but ends up being a hit. Not hit hard, but if you look, this one cost me a quarter of a run. I'm trying to go over here, first pitch, to get ahead. And we end up and in. So again, I missed by a lot. And we give up a hit. So these are the two hits that I gave up were both predicted. On the heat maps that I get pregame, it was like, don't throw in this spot in this situation. I wasn't trying to, I missed, but ended up in a location that I'm actually fortunate he didn't do more damage. So the 2 hits now that I've given up have accounted for like a half a run if you combine them. So fortunate this ball didn't leave the yard. And then we come back and we got Miggy. Here we go. We get this slider. Kind of runs off the bat. First at bat, we attacked him heavily. Fastball, curveball over here. So now we're going to go a little bit more with a lateral approach. He has this thing. He's like, I didn't hit that pitch. And he's like, oh, it must be my hand. So then we see this next pitch, miss. 96 though, so my velocity is starting to kick in, which is good, but I'm getting tired. Like I don't feel like I'm controlling 96. I feel like I'm having to throw it super hard to try to generate the 96, and then it's not going where I want it to. There's 96 there, a little bit better spot. Again, looking at the hand like it's the hand's fault that he can't hit that. Yank with 96. I figured he'd be looking for off-speed. Generally speaking, when I get the 2 strikes with Miggy, I try to throw him slow off-speed stuff, so I figured I'd sneak a fastball by him. But again, just everything. You can look at my delivery here. I'm in a good spot like here, and then I try to throw hard because I'm having to really try to generate it. So you get this big arch, and then you get the direction going over this way, and everything's just kind of pulling off, and this ball is just a massive, massive yank. So really ruined that sequence there. You get a slider swing over here that's probably starting like this. So you get this direction, and then you end up with a fastball that's kind of like in this area. So you have this whole crisscrossing where the fastball starts here and runs back a little bit, and the slider starts inside it here and runs off. And so you have this whole outside part of the plate really well established here with 2 different types of movements and 2 different types of speeds. So if I just stuff one in this area, I'm probably pretty good, but of course, I just yank it, and now we come back with the pitch I was trying to throw before, 97. We get the foul ball laid on it. Gets to full extension, but the bat's underneath it. And then 2-2, we come back with this slider. And this one's nasty. And, man, Miguel Cabrera would never swing at a pitch that was a full plate, probably 20 inches off of the plate. I mean, this ball's, here's the lefty batter's box line. So this ball's in the lefty batter's box. And you see how much buy-in he gets, and he's trying to hold up and immediately points. And of course, anytime Miguel Cabrera points, you can't ring him up. But this is why. This is the 97, and that's the slider. And you can look at the tunnel. Look how similar those are. And then the slider breaks, and you get a lot of buy-in. If this slider is about here, you probably get the swing and miss. But again, I'm not too upset with missing with this slider way over here because of the fact that I set that outer edge earlier in the at-bat, or the pitch before, with a fastball. So the tunnel actually works out pretty well. Try to go up, and we get this nod of the head, like, yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm thinking along with you. I laid off it. And he's like, okay, you challenged me and you missed, and I win that at bat. So this is really the hairiest part of the game right here in the 3rd inning, 1st and 2nd, with a guy that has some power up, and we execute some good sequences here. Get that swing on the slider, swing off the plate on a slider, and we get that out. Good backdoor cutter. Get away with that one. Not a bad start. There we go, we're back in it. Great cutter. And then get away with a curveball. I thought I had him on that one. Missed with that one. And then end up getting the ground ball. At this point in the 4th inning, I've said to myself, I got to get myself going. I've tried to get myself going the last inning against Miggy. I was really anxious in the dugout. I got to get this going. And I had to say, okay, just take a breath. You're fine. It is what it is for today. Just go out there and execute pitches with whatever stuff you have. And so I kind of calmed myself down. And from this point, I really started rolling. I started executing a lot better. So let me get to Merritt, get a cutter, strike, cutter off. Really well executed cutter there. And then this one, I lost a strikeout on this. After I execute a cutter here, it starts like here. So you get this movement and you get shown for a strike. The next one needs to be a slider that ends up way off over here, and you get the swing and miss every time. every time, because they look the exact same, and then one moves more laterally than the other. You can see he starts here, he triggers on something that's like inside here, and this fastball or the slider runs away, and he caps it. It's right off the end of the bat, but I'm frustrated here because I didn't execute that pitch. Again, my slider, going back to the beginning of the video, my slider was not really well executed this game. So, okay, we're in the 5th now. Missed, executed well. Get a swing up top. Okay. Executed fastball here, swing fastball up there. I feel really confident in this at bat. I can go curveball down off of this one that he swung at. I can go slider off of this one that he swung at. I can go cutter down off over here off of this one that he swung at. And if I miss up with any of these pitches, then I have this fastball up here that he swung at that protects it. So you set this level strike, you set this level with a fastball swing, and I feel like I'm in a really good spot here. I just need to execute some off-speed pitch, any off-speed pitch in like this area, and he's out. That's my mindset. So we go back up with the fastball. Now we have this one strike, this one swing, and we beat him with all 3 of those. So now really any off-speed pitch that I execute like in this area, like he's out. It's an out waiting to happen, and I know that on the mound. I'm confident in it, and then it doesn't happen. And he actually takes this, like there's a little bit of buy-in, and he takes it. I'm like, how the heck did you take that? So then we come back here and we try for the freeze, because the only way you take this pitch after getting beat with this fastball, and that fastball, is that you're looking off speed. You're slowed down, you're waiting, you're reading, you're trying to read the shape, and then you see it down, and you're like, okay, I'm not going to swing. So my thought is, all right, you can sit back slow, read the shape, and I'll just throw you a fastball right here, and you're going to take it. But I miss. And so now I've screwed up the sequence. Now we're 3-2. But we come back, and you can see the manifestation of exactly what I sensed on the mound. Slow. You watch his body language here. Slow, slow, slow. He's reading. He's trying to read shape. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, this fastball's by me. Let me just try to foul it off, and we get the sword. So this is the importance of like looking at body language and trying to read what the hitter's doing and where he's at, what his mindset is. And then we get the Conor McGregor strut a little bit. Feeling a lot better at this point. Like I said, in the 4th is really when I started to roll in this game. Okay, cutter, get some buy-in. Fastball, Kurt gets me one. Doesn't swing out there. Beat him with a fastball. Miss with the freeze, and then we execute a really good pitch up, and we move it a little bit in. So I'm trying to go in. I haven't gone in at all, so I'm trying to just hit that spot. We get it top shelf, and you can see he's late. He contacts the ball, arms bent, and full extension happens right after that. So that ball just beats him. This at bat was really well executed all around, except for the one missed freeze fastball. Let's see here. Go back to the beginning. All right. So we get this first one, cutter, and we get a lot of buy-in. So we know right away he's looking to swing. All right. So we even though I miss and I'm behind, I know what he's looking to do. I know where he's at. He's looking somewhere out over here and hard to swing. Next one we come and we get this freeze. He doesn't want to do anything with that, so I think he's still in this area out here. Next one we come back with cutter, and now this is counterintuitive to what I think was going on earlier. We get a lot of buy-in on this one, the first pitch of the at-bat, and then we get very little buy-in on that one. So now it's like, okay, are you looking slow? So I come back and I probe with a heater. I miss middle, really, in a spot that he can really get to. But you see, full extension doesn't happen until after, so this kind of slices off his bat. I beat him with this pitch. So I still think he's probably looking slow somewhere over here, recognizes fastball, and just a little bit late pulling the trigger on it. So now I come back with, okay, I froze down here already. I'm going to see if I can freeze down there again. Because I think he's looking slow now. I think he's looking for something to break off the plate, And so I'm going to come back and try to freeze with that down and away fastball, and I just miss. But there's very little buy-in there. Now, it was a ball the whole way, so potentially he just recognized that right away, but I still think his reaction here is slow. I think he's looking slow. And then we can kind of see that here. Late on this fastball up and away, takes kind of a lungy-ish swing at it. And then, like we talked about, this finishing one, just a little bit late getting to that fastball. And look at this, pitcher gets to make a play. Love that, love that. All right. Fake bunt attempt, we get ahead, really well executed backdoor cutter. And now after that backdoor cutter, I feel very confident that I'm in a good spot. So this ball starts kind of like over here and ends up there, and we get a really kind of a off balance swing to it. So now I know if I throw anything in this tunnel, I can finish fastball up here. I can throw curveball down here, breaking off of that tunnel. And that's what I'm trying to do, is get this curveball down here, the next two pitches. So we throw this one and we just miss in. Now we throw the one that I execute well and we get the foul ball. And now we're trying to go back up and away and we miss. We just miss middle. If I get this pitch up here, I think it's a swing and miss. I think it's an out. I just kind of yank this down to the middle, but it still works out in my favor. Now, difference here is you can see like he's contacting the ball on full extension. I mean, he's fully extended on that, and he just misses this. This is a hitter mistake. This is just the eyes to the ball, the barrel to the ball. He just slices this off his bat just a little bit. Very good possibility, though, that ball should have gone for a homer. Wrong count. Maybe I threw him two curveballs and he's slowed down a little bit. Maybe that's what saved me, but got lucky on that one for sure. Sixth inning, cutter down, fastball down. Kurt steals one for me again. If you look, glove is below the ball so that he can catch this coming up. I mean, he catches the ball here and stabilizes there, and the glove's in the zone. So we get that call. Great job by Kurt. Really big difference between 1-1 and 2-0. Come in here, get this cutter. Wants to swing at it, but okay, I can read that. I like this reaction because I can see how this pitch is affecting him. Okay, I know where I'm at. Come back here with this fastball up and in. And he actually hits this ball. He gets to it pretty darn well. Luckily for me, he pulls it foul. It wasn't a homer. It didn't go far enough to be a homer, but he pulls this foul. And now, okay, there we go. Cutter in here. You're looking in here. Fastball up and in. You yank it foul. You're ahead of it. So you're fast. You're sped up. Everything I've thrown you has been starting like midline running this way. And so I figure in that count, you're looking slow. And we come and we just get this nice freeze fastball away. Really well executed sequence. So then we get Miggy up again, and this time we get the swing and miss. All right. And this is the first pitch slider. And this is the one I'm saying, the first one I threw him, if this is the batter's box, the first one in previous at bat, I threw him one out here and he check swung on it. Right. And I said, if I get this pitch, instead of being here, if I get the pitch here, it's probably a swing and miss. And this is why. This slider starts dead center in the zone, and it ends up breaking off over to here. And you can see he's looking to hit. He's like, yep, and then just can't hold up. Really well executed. And then we get this curveball. Now, this is what I'm talking about the top shelf curveball. I'm trying to throw this for a strike. I'm fine with it being in the upper third of the zone because this is a really hard pitch to hit. You look at like the profile of it. Look how high this pitch starts. So he has to like look up at this pitch, and then it's breaking down. And how do you hit a pitch that's up, that's moving down? It's a very odd thing because no one throws this up here. So hitters aren't really trained to swing at things up there. And one might look at the location and say, oh, you got away with a hanging curveball. But if you look at the actual scouting report stuff, the execution of this saved me a quarter of a run. So this is a great location to go to Miggy. Now, he handles the mid-row curveballs pretty well. And then he struggles with the ones, not struggles too bad, and probably not that, probably like this zone of curveball, he doesn't hit too well. He gets to this zone like pretty well, and then above it is a really tough place for him to hit well. And so you might say, oh, he hung a curveball, but in actuality, like that's not a bad spot to go to him. And we go miss with a fastball, get the fastball, get the fastball, that one sets it, and then we get the swing and miss on the slider. So again, we talk about the setting the different levels of with the fastball. We're 1-0, we go fastball, here, swing. We set the top and the middle of the zone, take on the off-speed pitch, come back here, set this part of the zone, get a swing, beat him on those two. Now we start something that's slightly off the plate coming back. It's a four seam, but it has a little bit of arm side movement, and we get this. So this tunnel has generated 3 swings, all hard. If I can start a ball in that tunnel that's off speed, it's an out. And you look at where this pitch is headed, straight for that tunnel, and then it runs off the end of the bat. You can see he runs out of bat here, and it's slow, and he's ahead of it by a lot. And this is the last fastball that I threw in this area, but this is the tunnel, and you can see how well matched those pitches are for a long time. I mean, that's over halfway to the plate, and they look almost identical. They never break contact with each other. The slider pops up over the fastball a little bit, and then back down in plane, and then it's way gone. And you look at the ultimate, like, points that they ended up at, and it's a very large difference, but more than halfway to the plate, they look almost identical. And then we get that swing. So really well executed right there. 7th inning, not get away with those, but we start down here, late on it. We're trying to go up. We go up a little bit more, get the exact same thing. A little less late on it. He puts it in play, but get a good result. And then my friend Nico Goodrum comes up, and if you remember my last one, I said I didn't want to go over scouting reports and like what I was trying to do to a guy or something to give away free information. Well, my man Nico homered me last game, and he said in the post-game conference that they asked him why he has success against me, and he said, well, you know, I'm used to like facing him, and I know he's trying to attack me with fastballs, and I just stay on the fastball because I know I'm going to get one at some point, and blah blah blah, and I hit it well. Like, okay, well, the next time I face you, I'm not going to throw you fastballs. And that's what we get on this. We get backdoor slider, freeze, and we get curveball in the zone. Again, that kind of up curveball here, top shelf, upper third curveball. And then we get curveball again, but miss. And then we get curveball again, in more, and we get the swing and miss. So a lot of times, you know, listening to post-game conferences of people that hit you well can be kind of illuminating. 7th, okay, yeah, we got one more out here. Go fastball, trying to go away. I miss, up, get a pretty good result here. I'm fine with this. He almost gets to it, but you can see this ball's not on the barrel. It's kind of on the handle a little bit. And then we come back with curveball, top shelf curveball, hard pitch to hit. And we get the out. So that's the 7-inning complete game shutout, 111 pitches, complete with a McGregor strut and all. Hopefully you guys found some of that stuff interesting. This is kind of when I watch footage, this is what I look for. I look at hitter reactions. I look at, you know, how did I execute, get some post-game feedback from 4-App on how I executed, how my decision-making process was, what was my command, like all that different stuff. So I know going into it, I'm like, okay, these are kind of the issues to look for. Let me watch the game. Okay, how was my decision-making process? Did I miss something with the hitter? Did he give me some information that I didn't really utilize? Did I choose to throw the right pitch and I just executed wrong, or did I choose to throw the wrong pitch? And overall, I think my decision-making process here was pretty darn good. I just missed with some pitches. Got away with some of them and give up some hits on some of them. But overall, a good day for not feeling my best or not feeling really good at all game, for a variety of different reasons. So that's all for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that and learned something. If you did, leave me a comment below. That helps me out. And share this with anyone of your young baseball fans, friends, kids, whatever. Maybe they can learn something from it too. I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2020. So if you can hit that subscribe button, it would help me out a lot. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.